We're a half hour away. Main event, World Championship. This is going to be between Abisov, champion Christian Lee, challenger. Abisov, champion Christian Lee, also world champion. But Christian's moving up a weight class. Now, I feel as though my explanation here is far more complicated than the reality. But bear with me. Abisov, you might remember, it's the exact same spot. What does that, Abisov misses weight yesterday. What does that mean for tonight's match? Okay. Abisov, Christian Lee, same spot as Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje. Fight's gonna go on. Same amount of rounds. Exact same rules. If Abisov wins, they will raise his hand. Fair and square, he will win. Won't be called a draw. But he will not be champion. He will not leave there with the belt. He will be stripped. The belt is already vacated. If Christian Lee wins the currently vacated belt. I feel like maybe I said that more complicated than it is. All right, I got a question here. Let's see. Nice. Didn't know. Thanks for telling. What the heck? The best wrestler in Oregon. Yo, Chael. Nice glasses. I appreciate that. They're new. All right, look, I see there's no... I appreciate the niceties. I very much do. Abisov missed by a quarter pound, which brings in the hydration testing of 1. Now, that was a comment. I just read that. I have never... And I got asked that earlier today. Now I know why. That comment is now telling me why I got asked that. There is no controversy that I've ever heard around the hydration policies. I went through that in the NCAA. The first time that there was a combat sport that ever used the term hydration test was wrestling. And I happened to have eligibility. I was a sophomore, University of Oregon. And we went to hydration requirements. I have never heard any controversy within the NCAA. I've never heard any within one championship. So if you're asking me about that, feel free, let it go. But you're telling me something new that I can't respond to. Vacated title that Christian Lee will be fighting for. What fight has the highest potential for action? Oh, this one, main event. I really think that main event. Now you're going to see when Rodtang and Lasiri go at, all you're going to see is punches and kicks. That also happens to be the only thing that's legal. They're going to do some clinch work and they're going to be able to work from that position. The referee's not going to jump in and break them, at least not what you're traditionally used to under the Queensberry rules. But I think this main event, I'll tell you this. Talking about who's the better fighter, it's an interesting question because who's the better fighter versus who's going to win the fight, it's not the same thing. I'll take you back to last week. If you guys watched Adesanya win 4 rounds, you'd have very good argument to come to the conclusion that he's the better fighter. But if you watch him not win the fight, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Imagine you're in a fight. And you got a crystal ball. Like I can wave a wand over this thing. I can't make you be the better fighter. In fact, you're not going to be as good of a fighter as your opponent. But I have the power to say that you're going to win. Which one do you want? You want to be the better fighter or you want to be the winner? And I only bring that to you because Abisov is a massive pain. When I watch him, and I had to study him to great length, because a good friend and teammate of mine, Yushin Okami, fought him. I felt as though Yushin ran the clock out. Yushin was on his way to getting his hand raised. I've seen Abisov. He finds a way to win. As that clock starts to tick down, as he realizes I'm running out of time, it ups in urgency, and that's when he performs his best. And when you have to deal with guys that won't go away, you got to deal with guys that won't beat themselves. They're going to be around all night, for good and bad. That in and of itself is a task. It takes a patience, it takes a discipline, it takes a level of conditioning. I feel when Christian Lee and Abisov meet, you're going to see, I feel it's going to be obvious in the first round, but the first round is the only one about who's better, who's the better athlete, who's faster, who's got the better combinations, who's got the better setups. You see that in the first round. I think Christian's going to win that round. But after the first round, you're now in a tough guy contest. And Abisov's a tough guy. Is he win the rematch with Alex? Golly. There's a guy. There's a guy that you got problems with for whatever reason. I don't know that Pierre is that guy for Adesanya. I realize the results look that way. But Adesanya has no hesitation to compete with him. He's begging to fight with him now. He had no hesitation to agree to fight with him on Saturday. So I don't know that Izzy's got any mental block. I thought he went out. I thought he performed wonderfully. Pierre is a handful. That's just the reality. Do I pick Derek Lewis? Yes, I picked Derek Lewis. If I was to be frank in that, I don't really know his opponent. I don't know where Derek's mind is at. You know, Derek got on a good run. And in fighting, when it goes bad, it stays bad. It doesn't come back. But I'm not convinced that's where Derek is at, right? You fight those big guys, you take those big shots. You win some, you lose some. All right. Almost like an imposter. Yes, I know that he's a wrestler. Uncle Chael. Can Pierre improve his wrestling? Yeah, you know what? Yes. And I get, excuse me, I get what appears to be a deficit in his wrestling. But I also get that Adesanya has that same deficit. Adesanya cleaned out the division. That's not maybe. Not maybe. He went through everybody and he started to go through them a second time. So I think Pierre's wrestling is equal to Adesanya's. Can we agree? And maybe we think that they're both a little sloppy, but can we agree that they're equal? And can we agree? You want to know how good Adesanya's wrestling is? It's good enough. You want to know how good of a grappler Pierre is? Apparently he's good enough. All right, Uncle Chael, did you get a chance to see Angela Lee's last fight? Yeah. I watched Angela. I watched the whole Lee family. You know, I asked Eddie Alvarez about that, and he was traveling the circuit, and he knew the Lees. I said, man, are they as good as their reputation? And Eddie said, yeah, they're pretty good. It's tough to get a compliment out of Eddie Alvarez. Quite a competitive guy. He said, yeah, man, the Lees are tough. All right, the only takedown he gave up was a very sloppy takedown. I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. I remember the wrestling in that match. In fact, here, to prove that for you, Pierre is the one that went aggressively for a takedown. He changed elevation. He got to the leg. He got to two. He ran him down. I agree it was sloppy. The time that Pierre got taken down, he had a body lock. He was looking to take Izzy down with like a bear hug position. Izzy floated his hips, came out on top. I remember the wrestling. I'm not arguing with you that it's sloppy. I'm not arguing with you that it can be improved. I'm just making this statement to you. How good is Izzy's wrestling? It's good enough. He's world champion. He went through the division and he did it a second time over. He was getting ready to do it a third time over and he got out wrestled. I mean, they went 1 for 1. I don't have to hang my hat on the argument he got wrestled, but how good is his wrestling? It's good enough. I hear guys do it. You want to know where that's coming from for me? I remember when guys used to do this in the weight room. They talk about who could handle who could take who. And back in my high school, two guys never actually fought. They would argue it out. They'd start arguing resumes. One guy talking about, well, how much do you squat? This literally came up. Literally. And one guy was like 420, and the other guy wasn't 420. He backed down. I'm sure you guys have seen something like, how much do I squat? Ask me how much I squat. I squat enough. That's how much I squat. You want to fight? Let's fight. You squat more. Go ahead and squat more. Go ahead and hit harder. How hard do I hit? I hit hard enough. I might not hit as hard as you. Believe me, I hit hard enough. Uncle Chael, outside in a studio is rare. Yes, thank you for that. I got some nice lighting, don't I? Here, let me give you just a quick view. I'm at I don't know if you could see that or not, but I'm sitting outside. I'm at an Airbnb. I'm in Mexico. I'm from Oregon, where it always rains. So, you know, you don't really get to sit outside in the nice air. Chael, you're literally the absolute man. That was nice of you. Whitaker or Pierre? You know, I think that's a fun question. I really like that you asked it, because Izzy, can we agree? I mean, he's already beat him. Pierre versus the field. Pierre is not going to be the favorite. I don't think Pierre goes off as a favorite against Paulo Costa. I'm not saying who would win. That's between those boys. But I don't think the public would believe Pierre could win. They put a line out, a fake line that DraftKings was ready to activate if Dana announced the fight between Pierre and Chimaev. And Chimaev was almost a 3-1 favorite. So, you know, I don't know that the field versus Pierre looks as good as Izzy versus Pierre. When you come to predictions, I want to see Khamzat versus Colby. I'm with you on that. And Dana got asked about that earlier today. I happened to catch an interview he did. And he said, we're working on it. That's all he said. So we'll see where that one goes. I think there could be some truth to that rumor. All right, guys, I'm getting settled in. I'm going to change my shirt. I literally have a bag of popcorn I'm going to go pop. I know generally that's an expression, but I'm going to do it. I went and picked it up at the store today. One championship going down. Main event is Abisov versus Lee. Title technically vacated that can be won by Christian Lee. Enjoy the show, guys.